On Monday, the Trump administration is considering paying roughly $5 million to settle a wrongful death lawsuit of Ashley Babbitt, who was shot by a police officer during the January 6th riots in 2021. Video footage of the shooting shows that a mob was trying to break into a barricaded section of the US Capitol building when Ashley was shot. The police officer who shot her, as well as the initial investigators and several congressmen, including Republicans, have said that he fired as a last resort to protect the Congress members that were being threatened with violence. Critics worry that the settlement, on top of Trump's complete lack of nuance when pardoning all 1,600 convicted January 6 rioters, sends a scary message to his non-supporters, which is, if you commit violence on behalf of Trump while he's in power, he will pardon you or give your family taxpayer money. The next day, Kristi Noem let the world know that she does not know the definition of habeas corpus. She said, "Habeas corpus is the constitutional right that the president has to remove people from this country." When in fact, habeas corpus is used to determine if the imprisonment or detention of anyone is valid. This is a check on the president and the executive branch, so they can't round up whomever they want and imprison them without a valid reason within the law. Of course, the average person probably doesn't know this definition, but anyone in charge of detaining, imprisoning, and deporting people should know it and respect it. Then on Wednesday, Trump attacks an NBC reporter when the reporter attempted to ask a question about the Pentagon accepting a jet as a gift from Qatar.
Mr. President, the Pentagon announced it would be accepting a Qatari jet to be used as Air Force One.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You know, you ought to get out of here. What does this have to do with the Qatari jet? They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other things. It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go into a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing, they also gave $5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition to the jet. Go back, you ought to go back to your studio at NBC because Brian Roberts and the people that run that place, they ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network, and you're a disgrace. No more questions from you.
The next day, a judge blocks Trump's orders to dismantle the Department of Education. Trump signed an executive order on March 20th to help facilitate the closure of the department, which is an odd decision considering he couldn't close the department without an act of Congress. However, instead of working on building momentum to create legislation to help achieve this goal, his team simply scoffed at the decision and said, "Once again, a far-left judge has dramatically overstepped his authority." Then on Friday, a federal judge blocks Trump from barring foreign student enrollment at Harvard. The previous day, the Trump administration said it was revoking Harvard's ability to enroll international students, and that Harvard must transfer all its current students to other schools or they must leave the country. They justified this decision by saying that Harvard was an unsafe campus that allowed anti-American, pro-terrorist, and communist agitators on campus. Harvard quickly sued the administration for this action, and the same day, a judge sided with Harvard and blocked Trump. The next day, Trump gives a commencement speech at the West Point Military Academy, where he highlighted the achievements of the graduating class and gave some words of advice, but he also couldn't help himself from talking about himself.
In a few moments, you will become graduates of the most elite and storied military academy in human history, and you will become officers in the greatest and most powerful army the world has ever known. And I know because I rebuilt that army. I just got back from the Middle East, and I was as you know, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and I will tell you, they said, all three leaders, great leaders of those three nations, they all said the same thing. The United States of America is hotter now than we've ever seen it, and a year ago, it was as cold as it gets, and it's true. When I left office 4 years ago, we had no wars, we had no problems. We had nothing but success. We had the most incredible economy, the single greatest economy for a president in history. I think we're going to beat this guy by a lot, if you want to know. You know, we had the greatest election victory. This was November 5th, as we won the popular vote by millions of votes. We won all 7 swing states. We won everything. We won 2,750 districts against 505. 2,750 against 505. We have a great mandate, and it gives us the right to do what we want to do to make our country great again, and that's what we're going to do. You know, I defeated ISIS in 3 weeks. They told me it would take 5 years. I went through a very tough time with some very radicalized, sick people, and I say I was investigated more than the great late Alphonse Capone. Alphonse Capone was a monster. I went through more investigations than Alphonse Capone, and now I'm talking to you as president. Can you believe this?
Then on Sunday, we learned of a white nationalist march of about 100 people in Kansas City by a group called the Patriot Front. Their faces were covered and dressed in their signature navy shirt, khaki pants, and tan caps, who chanted things like life, liberty, and victory, as well as reclaim America. Devin Burghardt, president and executive director of the Institute for Research and Education on Human Rights, said in response, "We must counter racism and bigotry on the margins and in the mainstream." The attention-seeking neo-fascist group Patriot Front is well known for utilizing stunts like this to generate publicity and attract broken young men. Widespread community condemnation and long-term organizing are essential in making sure this new generation of white nationalists can't take root in our communities.